I'm going to try my best to not go angry black man on you today. It's getting hard though. Okay. Because a wise man once told me, when you know better, do better. The NFL knows better, yet they refuse to do better. I'm not going to get upset, but I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't annoyed. But I'm a good guy. It's Friday, and I want to talk about Super Wildcard Weekend. So I'll try to keep this short and sweet. Let's get to the proceedings this evening. The Louie T Network is powered by the Card Collector Series. Join me, your man, Louie T, on my journey back into the card collecting space with the Card Collector Series on YouTube. Link is in the description. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the 229th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your stepman, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Today is going to be a short, sweet, succinct, straight to the point episode. Don't have a ton of time, but I did want to jump on, talk to you guys about Super Wildcard Weekend, give you my predictions for the games on Saturday and Sunday. We'll come back on Monday and we'll give the prediction for that game then. However, before we get to any predictions, any previews of games, we have to start with the Gem Droppin Session, as we always do here on the Louie T Network podcast. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind, let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T Double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So, we talked about this on Monday. It was Black Monday. And Black Monday, right? And we talked about David Culley not being safe. Jay Glazer said, hey, David Culley's getting fired, but we'll see what happens, but David Culley's getting fired. And so we kept talking about coaching vacancies, and now we're up to a grand total of 8, if you count the Raiders, 9 vacancies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the Texans. So 8 total vacancies in the league, if you count the Raiders. 7 without the Raiders at this current juncture. So at the end of the day, we kind of saw this coming. And I told David Culley before the season, bruh, don't take that job. You can go back in the archives. And I said, bruh, don't take that job. It's a kamikaze mission. They're setting you up to fail. And David Culley said, I've been an assistant my entire career. I'm not doing the assistant thing anymore. The only job I'm willing to take is a head coaching job. And this was going to be his only chance. And that's the thing I hate about brothers is in the NFL is you got to take the opportunity that you get because you may not get another opportunity. That's what happened to Steve Wilkes in Arizona. He wasn't ready for a head coaching job, but he had to take the opportunity. He got an opportunity. He had to take it. He was terrible. He wasn't ready. That roster was horrible. They gave him a bullshit-ass quarterback situation with Josh Rosen and company and Brett Hundley, and they got their asses whooped, and he got fired. Vance Joseph was not ready to be a head coach, but he had to take the job. It was offered to him. He can't pass it up. He may not get another opportunity. So he goes off to Denver, and they got a bullshit-ass quarterback situation. It's always the same with the brothers. They get this job, and it's a bullshit-ass job with no quarterback, and they expect them to make magic. They go in, they get their asses kicked, and they get fired. David Culley was set up to fail. And I'm like, Dave, bruh, don't take the job. And he's like, I'm not going to get another opportunity. I got to take the job. So he took the job, and ask anybody with 2 eyeballs, what kind of a job did David Culley do? And they will tell you, I don't know how the hell that man managed to win 4 games. He should be in consideration for Coach of the Year. The job he did with that ragtag bunch they put together in Houston. Somehow, some way, we knew they didn't want to hire the next guy to take the fall. They hired David Culley for one reason and one reason alone. We want to see if David Culley, who by all accounts is the most personable guy you can find. Anyone that's crossed paths with David Culley loves him, and you can't have a hateful bone in your body for David Culley. So they were hoping that his ability to get through to people, be a people person, was going to get Deshaun Watson to want to walk back through that door. That was his one job. If he couldn't do that, he was fired on the spot. Well, obviously, Deshaun Watson, that ship had already sailed. David Culley could do nothing about it. The minute he didn't get Deshaun Watson to come back, his job was already done. His fate was sealed because they were going to stink. But they didn't want the next job to inherit the ass whooping that was coming in 2021. Let David take that ass whooping, and then we'll get him out of here. And you know what they always like to say? You know, the old standard line to get a brother out of there. Philosophical differences. That's what they said about Brian Flores. Philosophical differences. Okay, so Brian Flores gets fired immediately Monday morning, after winning 8 out of his final 9 games of the season, with a terrible offensive line and a GM that refuses to get that situation correct. We want to chastise them for their offense, and Tua doesn't throw it down the field, but Tua doesn't have time to throw it down the field, and somehow they managed to win 9 games this season after starting 1-7. You may not like Brian Flores. He did fall from the Bill Belichick tree. So yeah, he's probably somewhat of an asshole. I get it. But Joe Judge, who the owner of the Giants said, I thought we hit rock bottom and then every week we would hit a new low. I have never been more embarrassed in my life, yet somehow he makes it to Wednesday. Explain that to me. I need help. So now we're down to one black head coach in the league. Josh McDaniels, let's see, he cheated in Denver, blew up their whole entire organization, traded Jay Cutler, got rid of Brandon Marshall, left them in ruins. He took the Indianapolis Colts job, then reneged, backed out, went back to Indianapolis, and yet he's still a top head coaching candidate. Where they do that at? Let a brother do that, he'd be blackballed from the league. Yet Eric Bieniemy has done everything right, and the man can't get a job to save his life. Help me. The NFL is going in reverse. Now, trust me, we only got one black head coach in the saddle right now. That number is subject to change. There are 8 openings as we speak right now. There's no way we're not going to get at least 2 of those vacancies, I hope more than that, filled by persons of color. However, the fact that we sit here in 2022 and we have the same number of black head coaches in the league as we did back in 1993. And I don't even have to look. This is how bad this shit is. I don't even have to look. I know who the one black head coach was in 1993. It's goddamn Dennis Green. That's how bad it is. We had one damn black coach in the league for years. First it was Art Shell, then it was Dennis Green, and now we're back to this shit again. One damn coach. Now again, this shit is gonna change. It's gonna change. And I apologize if I'm yelling and the audio is distorting. I tried not to get worked up about this, but this shit pisses me off. If you stink, you stink. I don't give a shit if you're red, blue, black, green, yellow. If you can't coach, you got to get the hell out of here. I said the same thing about Freddie Kitchens. We say this about every coach that comes along. Look, Steve Wilkes was terrible. Vance Joseph was terrible. But my problem is, it's not the same for the brothers. It's just not. You can say what you want to say. You can try to paint the picture any way you want to. It's not the same for the brothers. And that shit is a damn travesty. I'll just leave it at that. The only thing I can say about David Culley, and I'm happy for him, is the man is winning, okay? Man coached 1 year, and if I'm not mistaken, he's going to walk away with $22 million because they still owe him 3 years worth of pay. Get your bread, man. And I think that's why he took the job. He said, you know what? This is probably a kamikaze mission. I'm probably going to get fired if I take this job after the season. However, what they can't do is they can't take my money back. I ain't mad at you. Go get your bread, man. Go get your bread. Anyway, I digress. Let's go on to Super Wildcard Weekend. Super Wildcard Weekend. Gotta love it. This is the best weekend of football. And they made it even better by extending it out one day and giving us some Monday football. So this will be the first time that the NFL has played games on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So we'll get NBA basketball. My Grizzlies always play on MLK Day, obviously. Martin Luther King was killed at the Lorraine Hotel, or Motel, excuse me, in Memphis, Tennessee. So because of that, the Grizzlies always play on MLK Day. So my Grizzlies will be on, and it just so happens to be that we're one of the best teams in the NBA right now, and we're going to be playing one of the best teams in the NBA in the Chicago Bulls, so it should be a good game. But we'll also get a playoff game for the first time in the NFL, as we'll get the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams doing battle for the third time this season. We'll handle that game on Monday. I want to talk about the 5 games we're going to get between Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to give you a preview of each, give you my prediction for each, and then we'll get out of here. So, 4:30 on Saturday. Raiders, Bengals. Gets us kicked off. The 4-seeded Cincinnati Bengals hosting the 5th-seeded Vegas Raiders. So, this is an interesting matchup between two of the more potent offenses in all of football. Joe Burrow and what he's done this year and his cast of characters, phenomenal. You got Burrow, pushing 5,000 yards, right around like 4,800 yards passing this year. You got Jamar Chase over 1,400 yards receiving, pushing 1,500. You've got T. Higgins over a G. And then you've got Joe Mixon over 1,000 yards rushing. So they've got a fantastic group of skill players in Cincinnati and a dynamic offense. And I've really been probably more so impressed with their defense this season. Obviously, we know the talent that exists on the offensive side of the football for Cincinnati. However, it's been the defense. It's been the acquisitions, Larry Ogunjobi, Trey Hendrickson. I think the biggest acquisition has been Chidobe Awuzie from the Dallas Cowboys at the cornerback position. They've all been phenomenal on this defense to help bolster that unit. Sam Hubbard is coming into his own in his second year, and all of a sudden this defense isn't half bad. Throw in Jesse Bates the third and a couple of their other players, Wilson at the linebacker position, who I love. And this is a really quality Cincinnati Bengals defense. So when I look at this football team, I see a very dangerous team. The only thing they lack is playoff experience. They're a young team. They haven't been here before. There aren't many players on the team that have experienced playoff football. They'll be leaning on guys like Trey Hendrickson, who's played in a ton of playoff games in New Orleans, and guys like that. They'll be, really leaning on them for what this is like. You cannot replicate playoff football. It's just different. So their head coach hasn't been here before. Their quarterback hasn't been here before. So you could see some jitters early, and I expect Cincinnati to come out. The crowd will be raucous. They haven't won a playoff game since 1990, one of the longest droughts in the NFL currently. And so they are going to be bloodthirsty, are the Cincinnati Bengals, and the jungle will be rocking. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. But the Raiders will not be scared, okay? They will come out. And I think early on, they will assert themselves. Now, when I say that, I mean they will stem the tide. I'm not saying they're going to jump out to a lead. As a matter of fact, I think Cincinnati's going to jump out to a 17-3 lead in this game before the Raiders settle down and make a game of it. And keep in mind, these two teams met before. All right. Out of the wild card weekend games, there are 6 of them. 5 of these matchups feature teams that met in the regular season. Only one game that we'll get in wild card weekend doesn't feature a matchup of teams that played at some point during the 2021 regular season. So all of these teams are somewhat familiar with one another. They've seen each other. Now, obviously, if you saw a team earlier in the season, they could be a totally different team now than when you saw them the first time. But this was a game that was played in Week 11. That wasn't that far ago. That wasn't that long ago. So the Bengals were victorious in Vegas, 32-13 over the Raiders in that game. But don't let the score fool you. This was a close ball game. It was 22-13 with about 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And the Raiders were hanging in there until Carr threw an interception. You didn't get a big Joe Mixon run for a touchdown. And then you get a Carr fumble. They end up turning that into a field goal. And that's how you get to 32-13. At the end of the day, I see this as a game where if Max Crosby, double X, can't get to the quarterback, I think this is a Yannick Ngakoue type of game. If Yannick Ngakoue and Quentin Jefferson inside, if those guys, because we all know the focus is going to be on Max Crosby to slow him down as a pass rusher. They're going to chip him. They're going to double him. They're going to force somebody else to beat them. If Quentin Jefferson can't win inside one-on-one, if Yannick Ngakoue can't win one-on-one on the outside, on the opposite side of Max Crosby, they're going to get carved up in that secondary. If they can find a way to pressure Joe Burrow, get him off his spot, make him uncomfortable, I think that this could be a game that could go right down to the wire. I've got the Bengals winning this game 30-20 over the Raiders. This game is close in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes to go. It's a 23-20 ball game. Remember, Raiders were down 17-3 early in this ball game. Score ends up being 17-13 at the half. Bengals are ahead. And then the Bengals get kind of into this slosh and they kind of get grinded down a bit. They only are able to add a couple of field goals. Raiders, however, add a touchdown. It's 23-20. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter before Joe Burrow and company get into the end zone, extend the lead out to 2 scores, and that's where the game ends 30-20. I will take the Bengals in the first matchup of Super Wildcard Weekend. It snaps the one of the NFL's longest playoff droughts, win droughts. 1990 is the last time the Bengals won. That comes to an end in this game. Your Saturday night cap of the doubleheader on Saturday and Wildcard Weekend features 2 AFC East teams going at it. AFC East family business. If these 2 teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business of the AFC East variety. So this is the trilogy of Patriots Bills. The first 2 matchups were really fascinating. The first one obviously came in week 13. That was the Gale Storm game, if you recall, where the winds were just gusting and howling and you were getting some precipitation. The Patriots threw it 1 time in the entire game. The Bills couldn't get out of their own way. They gave up 1 big run and they ultimately lose that game 14-10 on a Monday night. It was crazy. Sean McDermott was pissed after the game. He said, look, they'll be giving Bill Belichick and the Patriots all this goddamn credit. They're not all that damn good, okay? And he made sure to let everybody know, don't be singing their praises, okay? They didn't do anything special tonight. So the fire was lit. Those 2 teams met 3 weeks later in Foxborough, week 16, and Josh Allen put on a show in that game. They go on the road to Foxborough, win that football game 33-21. So now we get the trilogy, the final matchup of these 2 teams in the 2021 season. It's back in Buffalo, and honestly, the weather is advantage Patriots, because if you get into a situation where all things are equal, the Bills are by far and away the better team. But when you start adding in weather elements, and this is going to be the coldest game of the playoffs to this point. Now, when we get to Green Bay, shit could change. But right now, this game, and I don't know why the schedule makers didn't make this the first game of the postseason, like they did last year when the Colts were playing the Bills. Generally speaking, the AFC South is the first team to play every year. Every single year. If the Texans win the division, they're the first game. If the Titans win the division, they're the first game. If the Colts win the division, they're the first game. It doesn't matter. They usually put that team first, even if they're on the road, because they're going to be the least draw in terms of, they're going to be the lesser of all the teams in terms of viewer power and interest. Nobody cares about the AFC South except for the teams of the fan bases of the teams in that division. So because the Titans are the only team that made the playoffs from that division and they're on the bye week, they kind of got flustered a bit. I would have put this game, knowing that it's Buffalo, it's going to be cold as shit, put it during the day. By them putting this game at night, they allowed the temperature to drop another 6 to 8 degrees. Instead of it being 10 or 12 degrees outside, it's going to be, 2 to 4 degrees outside. And then you throw in the wind chill factor because it's Buffalo. It's always windy. And all of a sudden, now you're talking about sub-zero temperatures, potentially. It feels like sub-zero temperatures, at least. So you're going to get this cold-ass game, okay? Guys can't feel their fingers. Kickers can't feel the ball when they kick it. It's going to be crazy. You add in that there could be some precipitation, and all of this shit smells like Patriots, right? I'm not buying the hype. The Patriots, I think, got away with it the first time. I don't think they're getting away with it this time. What a lot of people don't know, and I get it, they play in a division where the offenses aren't all that great. The Dolphins don't have a dynamic offense. The Patriots themselves don't have a dynamic offense, and the Jets stink on offense. And then you throw in teams that they had to play this year, like the Steelers and the Texans, that they were able to dominate. Even though they lost to the Steelers, they dominated that Steelers offense. The Bills have the number 1 rated defense in the NFL. I don't think a lot of you understand that and know that. Like, I've talked about this team being a sleeping giant in the AFC. No one's talking about the Bills. They're kind of under the radar. They've lost some games this year. Not having Tre'Davious White, I think, will hurt them eventually at some point. However, their defense is good enough to get it done against this Patriots offense, and their offense is good enough with Josh Allen and company to get it done at home. Even though there will be frigid temperatures, I will take the Buffalo Bills in this game 23-13. And as a wise man once said to me, be ready. It might be chilly. Sunday. Got a triple header. First game up, 1 o'clock. Eagles at Bucks, another rematch from the regular season. These two teams locked horns in week 6. The Buccaneers were a juggernaut offensively at that time. They're still kind of explosive now, but it was different in week 6. They were mowing teams down. They had Antonio Brown. They had Chris Godwin. They had Mike Evans. They had a healthy Rob Gronkowski. Leonard Fournette was running like a man possessed and healthy. So was Ronald Jones. They were a complete offense. They won that game 28-22. The score doesn't do that game any justice, okay? This was a 28-7 game heading into the fourth quarter. Bucks pulled the reins on that thing and took their foot off the gas pedal. Eagles made a run at it, and once the Eagles made it interesting, the Bucks got 2 first downs and ended the game and took knees. So I never felt like the Bucks were in danger of losing that football game. But that was then. This is now. 2 totally different teams. And I think this game comes down to one thing on each side. It's really simple for me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the number 1 pass offense in football. The Philadelphia Eagles have the number 1 rush offense in football. So this is really simple for me. If the Philadelphia Eagles can impose their will, and remember, the Buccaneers, say what you want about their pass defense, it's not great. They stop the run, okay? Vita Vea, William Golston, JPP, Shaq Barrett and company, those linebackers that fly around, okay? White and all those guys, they stop the run, okay? So if the Eagles can't establish the run game, if they can't be who they've morphed into, which is a dominant rush offense, and they got to give the ball back to Brady in that number one pass offense, it's good night. God bless and good night. Okay? So it's really simple. If the Eagles can establish the run, win time of possession, keep the ball away from Brady and that number one rated pass offense, they can win this football game. There's definitely a chink in the armor in Tampa Bay. You keep that football away from Brady and company, and you let them get cold on the sidelines. Remember, there is no Antonio Brown. There is no Chris Godwin. This is a different Buccaneers offense than the first time when the Eagles saw them. They can keep this ball away from Brady and company. They will have a shot to win this football game. But if my head was turned backwards, I could see forwards. If is a big word, the biggest two-letter word in the dictionary. If the Eagles can do that, I don't think they will be able to run the football consistently on this Buccaneers defense. They're too fast, they're too physical, and I think the Eagles will be grounded, literally, in this game. And because of that, Brady and his offense will get ample opportunities against what I think is a very soft and vanilla Eagles defense. They have to blitz to generate consistent pass rush. They can't blitz Brady or they'll get destroyed. And so they'll sit back in soft zone coverage as they've done a lot with Jonathan Gannon this season. And I think Brady will eat that shit alive. I'll take the Buccaneers in this game 26-17. And another home team gets it done for your man Louie T. That's 3 for 3 with the home teams. But that's about to change in this next game. 4:30 Sunday afternoon, second of 3 games on Sunday. San Francisco 49ers pack their things, travel east and south to Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. This right here feels like home. This feels like 1992 to me, which takes me back to nostalgic, glory forming years for me. You know, the formative years of football for me and my growth and my love of this game. This rivalry goes way back. I mean, we go back to the Dwight Clark, the catch in 1981. I mean, this rivalry goes back a ways, right? These two teams, there is no love loss here. Nick Bosa has already said, hey, I look at both of their tackles, I can beat both of their asses. Like, there's no love loss here. This is going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to this. And to me, the Cowboys have one weakness. And that weakness is you can run the football on them. Now, I just said this, and it's pretty similar to the last game I just broke down. If the Cowboys can neutralize the 49ers' zone run blocking scheme and zone run offense, and make Jimmy Garoppolo beat them on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 9, they're going to be in a pretty damn good spot to win this football game. But if they can get into an offensive rhythm, running the football, keep that Cowboys pass rush from being able to load up and be aggressive, if they can stay in 3rd and manageable with George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, who I think is the most underrated receiver in football, he's going to run that drift route 27 times in this game. And if the Cowboys aren't able to defend him and Kittle, sprinkle in one other guy, whether that is Juwan Jennings or it's the young kid from Oregon or Arizona State, excuse me. They just get one more receiver to contribute. In addition to Kittle and Deebo Samuel, it'll make it hard on that Cowboys defense. It all starts up front. Trent Williams is going to play. That is huge. Silverback being back for this game is massive because what it does is it shuts down the left side of the football field. They're not getting any pressure off of that side unless they blitz, and that means they can run the football with impunity on the left side of that offense because you're running away from DeMarcus Lawrence, who is the Cowboys' best run defender, and you're running at a smaller defender in Randy Gregory. So they're going to have their way on that left side running the football. And if they're able to then go play action fake, Jimmy Garoppolo has time and they can't just pin their ears back and come after him because it's 2nd and 5, it's 3rd and 3, and he's getting it out of his hands quickly. It's going to be a long afternoon for that Cowboys defense. And the blueprint has been set. When teams have had success against Dallas, it's because they've been able to run the football like Arizona was able to do a few weeks ago. We've seen teams do that against Dallas. You can move the football against them on the ground. And then conversely, if you can get after Dak Prescott, make him uncomfortable. We've seen teams do that as well. Get off the field. Dallas isn't in a rhythm offensively. They're struggling. If Denver did it to them, Denver ran it against Dallas. Denver got pressure on Dak, made him uncomfortable. Dak missed some throws in that game as well. But we've seen the blueprint for beating Dallas. Okay? So if the 49ers can go out and execute, and that's their game, it's not like the 49ers have to go outside of themselves to do the things that are the kryptonite of the Dallas Cowboys. That's the 49ers MO, is running the football, playing good enough defense, getting after the quarterback. That's the 49ers MO. I think they're in a good position to win this football game. Now, again, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to play outstanding football. He's going to have to make some throws on 3rd down, and I don't necessarily trust him. However, I trust that run game. I trust Kyle Shanahan, and I trust that 49ers front 7. I don't trust that back end. I do not trust their secondary. So if they can't get to Dak Prescott, Dallas will have a field day, eat them alive, and win this football game and score 30-plus points. But I'm assuming that the 49ers will run the football, limit the Dallas Cowboys amount of possessions. They won't get 12, 13 possessions in this game. They'll only get 9 or 10. And that's where the 49ers want to be to win this football game. And I have them doing that 27-23 in this ball game because they will dictate to the Cowboys defensively with their run game. They will keep that Cowboys offense off balance by not being able to get into a consistent rhythm, just like Denver did. And they'll find a way to win this game. I'll take the 49ers on the road as my only road winner in Super Wildcard Weekend on Sunday or Saturday. We'll talk about the game on Monday when we get there. And then finally, Sunday night, 8:15, Steelers, Chiefs. So the 49ers and Cowboys were the only teams to not meet in the regular season. The Cowboys played the 49ers last year, if you remember, in a high-scoring affair, 41-33, but those two teams didn't play this season. However, the Chiefs and the Steelers did play this season. And it wasn't that long ago. It was week 16, okay? So it was only 3 weeks ago that the Steelers looked like they were dead. Ben Roethlisberger looked like he was on his deathbed in terms of his career, and the Steelers' season looked like it was on life support. They got their asses run, 36-10, and everybody said, well, that was cute what the Steelers did this season, but they're done. And then they ran off 3 straight to finish the season, and here we are. Steelers are in the postseason. So this is not a good matchup for the Pittsburgh Steelers, any way you slice it. And with the news of Tyreek Hill and his heel being healthy enough to practice fully on Friday and him not even being listed on the injury report, that was probably the final nail in the coffin for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know how I feel about this Steelers offense. It's anemic. It's atrocious. The defense, I think, is going to make adjustments similar to Georgia in the national championship game versus Alabama. The Steelers are going to make adjustments. They will not get their asses kicked the way that they did the first time these two teams met in terms of the game just getting away and never being close. If I'm not mistaken, the Steelers were on the verge of being shut out in that game. It was like 29-0 and well into the fourth quarter, but it won't be that this time around. I'm not saying the final score will reflect how close this game is or was, but at the end of the day, I think that the Steelers are going to hang tough defensively early in this game. They're going to come out. Ben Roethlisberger has already said, oh, we don't have a chance. We got nothing to lose. So we can just go out and play free. And they're going to buy into that whole mindset of nobody's giving us a chance. What do we got to lose? Let's just go out here and play balls to the wall. And they're going to come out with a bunch of adrenaline early. They're going to stem the tide because Arrowhead is going to be rocking. And they're going to come out and they're going to neutralize the Chiefs early. And this game's going to be 6-0 at the end of, the first quarter, and the Chiefs can't seem to find a rhythm offensively, and the Steelers are hanging in. And at halftime, it scores 13-3, and the Chiefs are still allowing the Steelers to hang around. And this is what the Steelers do. They hang around, wait for you to make a mistake. They take advantage of that mistake, and all of a sudden you look up, it's the fourth quarter, and you're like, how in the hell is the score 13-10, and why are we only winning by 3 against this garbage-ass offense? Well, that defense is pretty damn good. That's why. And so the Chiefs are going to be sleepwalking at first. Then you get to the third quarter, and that's when the switch is going to go on. They're going to make some adjustments, and all of a sudden they're going to run away and hide in this thing, and they're going to win this game 29-13 over the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger's career comes to an end. The Chiefs move on, and all is right with the world because, again, the Steelers in that offense, tough to watch. Again, 36-10 just 3 weeks ago, okay? Total annihilation of the Steelers by these Chiefs just 3 weeks ago. There'll be an adjustment made. Juju Smith-Schuster is practicing. I don't know if he's going to play. That's an interesting dynamic. He's not going to change anything. Their offense stinks. He's not going to come back and just change everything for them. But it'd be nice to get him back. Another weapon out there for Ben to get the football to. But when it's all said and done, the Chiefs are the superior team, and they will win this football game and advance to the divisional round. So those are my picks. Bengals 30-20 over the Raiders. Patriots will fall to the Buffalo Bills 23-13. Buccaneers get it done over the Eagles 26-17. 49ers triumphant over the Dallas Cowboys 27-23. Steelers fall 29-13. And that is where we'll end today's show. And I just want to say one more thing. God forbid Mike Tomlin hasn't, had a flawless career in terms of never having a losing season. Because even with this man, how long has he been the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers? What are we talking about? 15 years now? 15, 16 years? Even with his longevity, even with his record, even with his track record of not having losing seasons and somehow taking a ragtag bunch of Steelers, there have been years where Ben's been hurt the entire year and he's had to find a way to navigate the season with Landry Jones and Joshua Dobbs and Mason Rudolph, and yet the man still finds ways to win football games. And yet every year we're hearing rumblings about Mike Tomlin could be in trouble if the Steelers don't do X, Y, Z. That shit frustrates me. Every time I hear something, Mike Tomlin could be in a trade. Why? Why are you trying to run this man out of town? Is he the best at clock management? No. Okay, I get it. Is his game management the best? No. But you know what he is? He's a goddamn winner. That's what he is. Anyway, I digress. I think I have a super chat. I think I saw something. Nope, I don't. So, with that said, I'm going to get out of here. Allow you to get to your weekend because I'm dying to get to mine. Can't wait. Bart Scott. Can't wait for Super Wildcard Weekend. I will be live after every single one of these games. We will break it down quickly and then get you back to the action on the field because, there's not a huge gap between these games. So I will try to be as brief with my synopsis of the game and how the outcome came to be. But, man, this should be a ton of fun. Do me a favor. Leave your predictions for these games down in the comment section. Should be a lot of fun. Until next time, I am your man, Louie T, signing off, reminding you that I don't know what I was about to say. I was going to say something, and it felt important, but obviously not important enough for me to remember. So that means it's time for me to go. You guys take care. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless. And good night. Louie T.